Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the First Class, Second Place podcast. I'm your host, Jason Enrique, and we got a returning first class guest up in the building today. But before we continue, I want to remind everybody that we are live in Bravery Studios in Garfield, New Jersey. Shout out to Najee Beyond the Glass. Hope everything's going well, brother. And congratulations on the gig that you had on this past Saturday. I don't know if you're mic'd up or anything, but anyway, I just want to say that it looked like it was a great turnout, and congratulations to keep on doing what you're doing. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we got a returning first-class guest here, and I've been looking forward to this for quite some time. I can't believe we were just talking a little while ago how long it's been since he was on the show the last time, and he has been going nonstop, full throttle with his entire career. He's all over the place. If you haven't heard about it by now, then you should. Something's wrong with you. If you haven't, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, returning now is PressureOnline. What is going on, Pressure?
Hey, what up, man?
PressureOnline.com. Welcome back to the show, man. It's always been a pleasure talking to you. I really appreciate you coming on the show the last time, and I just love everything that you've been doing, man. It's been a long time since you were last here, and just everything. I mean, I've seen you, like, you go to Jamaica, you're going down to Florida, you in the studio, you're in that studio, you're on this stage, you're on that stage. Your life is literally a movie, I feel.
Oh, man. Yeah, I've heard that, man, from a lot of people, and I'm just a blessed individual that I just keep going, you know what I mean? My whole thing is, like, I never gave up, you know, even sometimes feeling doubted, you know, from others, or even self-doubt, you know. I always just knew, like, just keep going. Even if I, you know, take a break, you know, it's okay to relax, but it's also not okay to stop completely. So
right.
That's just been my motive, man, is just never give up.
And it's funny because I just said that you had content when you were on vacation in Jamaica, I think maybe about
Correct.
a year ago or something. But even while you're on vacation, you're nonstop. You still had to make a music video out of that. So
Right.
Even when you're on vacation, you're still working.
Yeah, man, I was out there for my lady's birthday, and we was in Jamaica probably for like 4 days, and at the top of the year too. And what I did was I had set up the tripod because I had something told me bring my tripod, and I never bring my tripod nowhere.
Okay.
So I set my camera on the tripod around the balcony, boom. I was like, the view was just so dope, and I was like, yo, for this new record that I got called All Night Long, produced by Jugs Tour One.
Shout out to Jugs Tour One.
Shout out to Jugs Tour One. I was like, damn, I need to get some clips out here because, yo, Jugs be on my phone all the time. He like, yo, P, if you don't record it, it didn't happen. He's like, yo, we ain't got a green screen to fake it. You out there, man. Just put your camera up. So I set the camera up, and I did some performance shots there, and actually I just compressed and put together my actual trip and made that the music video. So it was just like real-time stuff.
That's dope, man. And then, you know, based on everything that you see on your social media, besides the music stuff, you know, you've been doing the photography thing here. You're doing a lot of other things. And what I appreciate about you, just not just on social media, but just as a person, is that you do music. That's what you're known for. That's what's taking off your career. But you are not afraid to be yourself. Like, I feel like a lot of times in music, especially with hip hop artists in particular, it's always like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. You know, like I've they're like a different person behind closed doors, and then when they're on the stage, it's like they have to uphold this persona. But like, I just feel like it's just you 24/7. It's just who you are.
Yeah, I mean, coming from where I'm from, it's easy to fail, and a lot of people fail not because they're not great at what they do, but they don't know how to be team players. So my whole thing is it's 9 billion, probably almost 10 billion people in the world, right? Like statistically, we all unique in our own way, but it takes a lot to stand out, you know? So my whole thing is like, man, it's not about me. You know, if I can help someone else, then, you know, that's the role I play. You know, like sometimes one day you might be the transmission, the other day you might be the tires, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you got to get out there and touch the ground, man, and help people, because initially that's what it's all about, you know, is helping others.
Yeah. Now, this particular date I have right here, July 28th, 2023. That was the date that the EP dropped out, or the album dropped, 29.
Yeah.
And that was right after you were on this show previously. So when you came on the show the first time around, this project was just about to drop.
Right.
And you talked about it, and, you know, if anybody wants to know more about it, they can check out that old episode. But that, like I said, this is July 28th, 2023. We're now in 2025. So there's been a lot that has been going on. So what are some of the things that maybe we're not aware of that has been going on in the life of PressureOnline?
Yeah, man. So I dropped my album 29. That's the last one that I put out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and since then, wow, man. From the music side, I put out a video which was called Throne Ish,
Yeah.
and it was like a phone booth type of setting. So we did some music videos, did some shows. I was at SOBs. I was in New York. I was moving around, and on the film production side though, was really busy. I was more directing in between time, which I had produced some for 50 Cent,
Mm.
which he
I
posted.
remember that. Yeah,
That was
yeah.
for the Branson Cognac. We did that
Mm-hmm.
commercial. Shot DJ Walla. Um, did that. I just recently did something for Snoop.
Nice.
That's gonna come out whenever. But man, I just really been fortunate to be behind a lot of things. I'm always doing like Summer Jam and the big events, but man, it's so much. It's almost hard to like keep it all together.
Yeah, no, and I don't want to. I'm not a person that likes to brag, but there has been a lot that has gone on in my life since then. Like back then when you came on the show, I don't think I was even acting really yet. Now I've actually
Mm,
done a couple of projects. I've been in a couple of short films. I just
dope.
got booked to be on my first stage play, which is going to be next month on June 28th in Newark. More details to come, so be on the check out for that. I'm really nervous about it, but I'm looking forward to it. And I just had to go through a lot of personal growth as well. I had to deal with a lot of loss. I had to deal with gains to make up with that loss, and also being appreciative of those gains and not to be focused on those losses. Because I think that sometimes we're all human. It happens every now
Right.
and then that the self doubt, like you were mentioning before, starts to creep up, and you kind of feel like you're stuck and you don't know how to get out of it. But sometimes it's the simplest things that could be said or done to get you out of it. It's just that in that moment, it's easier said than done when you're just stuck in it. And it took me a while to get out of it, and I feel like I've been doing a lot better since then. But it's just crazy how in that amount of time so much has changed in between both of our lives individually, respectively.
Definitely, man. Another thing that I didn't mention that
Mm.
I was kind of leaving out on purpose, but I've been fortunate to be on tour, man, the Millennial Tour.
Oh,
Running around.
that's right.
Yeah,
I did peep
yeah.
that.
Shout out to Lloyd, man. Big brother, man.
Yeah. Mm.
Definitely a good guy. Very solid. Very genuine. Him, DJ Lil Man's from Jersey as well.
Facts.
Them just bringing me out on tour, and we've been making a lot of moves, man. So I'm just fortunate, to be a part of people's journey at the same time they're a part of mine.
Hmm. Well, also in the between time in the meantime in between time on your YouTube channel, you also been putting up these series of freestyles.
Right, live in the booth, yeah.
Yes, exactly, and
Yeah.
I like the one that you did with Golden Cookie and all the other stuff. So, what's funny is that for me, I've listened to some of your back catalog, and I've listened to some of the stuff that you have right now, and for some reason, I'm getting the feeling that even though you've made a lot of accomplishments in your career, I've really start to feel like now you're probably the hungriest that you've ever been. Like you feel like this is nothing compared. Like it feels like you accomplished a lot, but maybe personally in your head you're thinking, nah, this is not enough. I feel like I got to go harder.
Hmm. I mean, that's an interesting perspective. In my eyes, I feel like I haven't done enough yet. I'm always hard on myself, so I feel like, man, like
You're your
sometimes I
biggest
feel like I
critic.
shortchanged myself because my hands is in so much. Whether it's graphic design, filming, editing, photography. Like being a content creator overall is somewhat difficult because it's really a job. Like mentally, you gotta have your mind drilled thin, and when you can't give something your 100% attention, whether like a lady or so, you get the backlash from it. So it's really like I feel like I'm as hungry as I can be, but I also feel like I'm still pushing myself to get to that starving point so I can have a breaking point of like when I go, I go. Because right now I feel like I'm like in between both fields. So I really want to give music my 100% attention, but my media company is like just doing so well.
Mm. Well, it's always important to have a real strong team behind you from the personal standpoint and from a professional standpoint. And when in those moments of self doubt or you feel like you're spreading yourself too thin, how are they able to bring you back to earth, so to speak?
Wow. Um. Hmm. I feel like the best thing sometimes is to just take a day to yourself. Like I'm not like gonna sit here and say like I'm meditating, but I definitely sit still and I get my days where I try not to even look at my phone. Or sometimes I might put it on D&D just because I need that break from the world. Like I feel
Mm.
like that is like a self reset button for me, and I think that helps refresh all my ideas and even my like drive.
Yeah, and I kind of feel that too because like besides the acting and all the other things that I'm doing, at the end of the day, podcasting was the first thing that I started doing. So I feel a little shame by saying this, but I've been consistent with my show, but I feel like the content creation hasn't been consistent. Like I still feel like I got to catch up on a lot of other people that I've had on the show to promote on social media to let people know that hey, I got these other episodes that you should check out. But every now and then, like I feel like there's moments where I'm spreading myself too thin that I don't even want to make a simple clip and post it on YouTube or social media or whatever because I just want to take time to myself and not be on my phone. I feel like there was a moment where I don't want to say I was getting burnt out, but it was just a little too overwhelming. And I just wanted to just take a break from the world and forget that, I got these things. But at the same time, I have that drive also where I feel like I need to be consistent. I don't want to let the fire burn out because who knows when, not to sound morbid, but you never know when your day is coming. Today could be your last day, so on and so forth. And I just wanted to maintain that consistent there, but also find that balance of not trying to spread myself out too thin.
Yeah. And that's an important word that you just used, man. Balance. A lot of us sometimes think we have it, but we really gotta like work on it. And self reflection is everything, man. Once you're able to realize what needs to be done, and what areas you can like, strengthen, um, at that point you'll be good to go. You know what I mean? You'll be all right.
Yeah. Now, how long would you say you've been doing this your entire career? Like 13 plus years?
Yeah, easy. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. So compared to how it was for you in the beginning to where you are right now, what would you say are some of the biggest peaks and valleys that you've had to go through? Because it feels like, as an artist especially, there's always going to be bumps in the road in order to get to the amount of success.
Yeah, man. Wow, that's an interesting question, and a lot of times I feel like um, people never know about the deleted scenes in the movie, right? Like, man, going through running to New York, getting CDs pressed up, thousands of CDs pressed up, having to go hand them out. You know what I mean? Even if you're giving it away for free, people look at stuff when you handing it to them up here anyway, and in the north, it's a little different. Everyone is kind of like, I wouldn't say aggressive, but standoffish, up here. So, you go through those denials, you send a person an email and you get them the acapella, you get them the instrumental, and they never played a song. I've performed and the mic battery died. So
Hmm.
you go through stuff like that, man. It changes you, but it changed, or at least for me, it changed me for the better. It made me realize like, yo, ain't nothing perfect. You can't force a fan. You just gotta be who you are, and who's attracted to you gonna come. Yeah.
So in the 13 plus years that you've been in this industry, it's always ever changing. Like the crowd that's now filling up the space in 2025 is completely stark than it was in 2012, in 2013, so on and so forth. So have you feel like you had to make adjustments as far as your artistry is concerned, or do you feel like the consistency is going to keep the longevity that you still have to this day?
Another interesting question. Wow. I feel like the consistency has kept me afloat, and it kept that respect that I always used to get just for being me.
Mm,
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I grew up in the projects, but I ain't never really like rap about the streets and killing and all that.
right.
Like, so when you come from something, that don't mean you have to be a reflection of it. Just know where you came from. So, you know, being that person that had to, I guess, lean towards like doing film, doing music, and everything. I don't know. Like it's hard to say, but I feel like all of it was a challenge, if that makes sense. Like
Sure.
it's,
Yeah.
it's definitely challenging.
Yeah. Now, besides the music thing, you're an artist overall.
Right.
I don't just put you as just a music artist. I put you as an artist in the general sense. And I don't think we ever tapped into this when the last time you were on my show. But seeing that I've got into filmmaking now and I've done a couple of projects and everything, so I'm kind of getting a little bit indoctrinated into that world. And seeing that you're somebody that has been in that world as well, I guess I never got a chance to ask you, like, where did the inspiration of wanting to get into filmmaking start from? Because like for me, I remember just, and I tell this story all the time. Again, I apologize to the audience, but for me, it started like, me watching Bruce Willis in Die Hard 3, and I'm like, that's what the guy I want to be. Like, I want to be an action hero. And then later on, I just learned about learning the craft and going to classes and so on and so forth. So if music wasn't in the picture, like take music out for the picture just for a moment, like as far as like the love of filmmaking, where did that initially come from for you personally?
Well, interestingly, I wanted to be an actor before anything. That was like my first passion.
Yeah.
When I was younger, this is funny. I used to Google like the Disney's phone numbers, all that stuff. Like
Oh, wow.
I definitely wanted to be on a TV show when I was younger. You know,
Okay.
whether it was that, Nickelodeon. So with me wanting to act first, the transition was very simple. Like, once I picked up a camera and was filming my own music videos, it definitely reminded me like, oh, I can act too. So then I started acting in my videos, and then I landed myself in being in 2 short films when I was younger, and also I did like some extra work on like TV shows like on CBS and NBC or whatever. So
Yeah.
it just honestly they mirror each other. It's entertainment. It's the same umbrella. So eventually, if you're around the right people, someone will bring it up like, hey, you ever want to do this? So I say back in 2011 is when it kind of kicked off, with acting. But it was going into doing extras for like TV shows and stuff.
Right.
That's what happened.
Do you feel like it's more prevalent for you to work on your own projects as opposed to working as a regular worker for somebody else's project?
When you say as a worker, you mean like
Like for instance, like you're doing a project, but it's not necessarily yours. It's you're part of it, but it like your name is not necessarily attached to the whole thing as a whole. Whereas, do you feel like it's more prevalent for you to be involved in your own projects as opposed to just somebody else?
I mean, it's always good to like have your own and build your own, but like I said, with me being a team player, I mean, sometimes you gotta play a role and get your experience out there, however you can get it. So if someone's project is way more put together and it's way more organized and it makes sense, the structure is there. I mean, fall in line, like I'm never gonna go against the grain of, always just focus on yourself because that could make you selfish in a way, you know.
How you make sure that you don't hinder yourself as far as acting is concerned? Because you don't strike me as somebody that just wants to be in a box and being typecast. Like naturally as an actor, our instinct is to always push the envelope and see what else we can do.
How I don't hinder myself is I do a little bit of everything all the time. You know what I mean? So you never see me just doing one thing and that's the only thing that I'm doing. So it's kind of hard to put me in a box because naturally you'd be like the other day somebody saw me cutting hair. He's like, yo, mad random. Like that's completely sidebar. He's like, yeah, you cut hair? I was like, yeah, I cut hair. Like I know how. So it's sometimes that shock factor, you can't never let people think they got you figured out because at that point they will only want to see you a certain way.
And that's actually where I'm at right now. And I'm trying to break out of that, and that's why I'm looking forward to the stage play because it's different than anything else that I played. But so far in the projects that I've been doing, it's either been a cop or a crook. And it's funny. It's gotten to the point now where I tell my boys that I just booked another gig. Oh, and they're like, oh, okay, what are you, a cop or a crook this time? So I'm trying to break out of that. And I had somebody, an actress, shout out to Jenny Ruiz, who said that, it won't completely help me not get typecast, but if I'm gonna continue getting that kind of work, I should have like a name attached to it as well, like that Mexican actor, like he plays Hector in every single movie, and nobody knows his real name, but they know him as Hector. And so I'm not saying that I want to be known as Raimundo or anything like that in every scene,
Right.
but it's just me wanting to spread my wings at the end of the day, because I remember there was a time where I wanted to direct, and then afterwards I got my first opportunity to do it, and I realized that it wasn't really for me. But I also come to the realization that I said that I only wanted to direct in the beginning when I was younger. It was because I was afraid to actually be in front of the camera. Once I shed that fear off and gain a little bit more confidence, I realized that I don't really want to do that. I want to do this, and this is where I'm having more fun, and this is where I want to take it further.
Right. Yeah, and I understand that because for me, I always wanted to be in front of the camera, and then when I learned the technical stuff and you learn, what goes into being in front of the camera, I'm like, wow, like it makes you more of a valuable player when hypothetically, right? Even though this might be like a crazy analogy, but if you're able to play point guard and play center, I mean that's amazing.
Yeah.
Even though it's like rare, but
Yeah.
I think being rare is important. Like being okay with being uncomfortable in certain situations, as long as it doesn't go against your morals, obviously. But um, learning, man. Like it's never no such thing as you know too much. You always it's always something for you to learn. There's always something for you to figure out, for you to do. So yeah, man. I just say, try everything and don't box yourself. Like you said, for you with acting, you may play a cop or you may play a crook, but maybe if you get with some filmmakers on the come up, or that's interning at a college that might be working on something, and you could be a comedian in that, at least you'll be able to add that into your reel and your portfolio. So if these people that's casting you only cast you based off of the stuff that they see, then you get them something new to see.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. I want to show range. Like when I booked my first short film, I didn't really have a bio. I didn't have a reel to show anything. The only reason I got that role was because of my hair and my voice. That's it. They just figured that those were the two things that needed to be for the role. But luckily enough, like you said, with the connections that you make and so on and so forth, I feel like I've been able to build those relationships with those same people to see if we could branch out into other avenues as well. And that's all I really want. I don't want to be put in a box. And like you, I feel like I'm an artist myself. Like
Right.
not just acting but also podcasting as well. I don't know if I would ever do music again, but I feel like I want to try always different avenues. And I'm at a place right now where I want to find the right. I want to keep on finding the right fits for me, because like I'm always finding something about myself almost on a regular basis. Like I've been doing this for a couple of years now. Started acting about almost 2 years ago, and just about maybe almost 2 months ago, I discovered that hey, I actually have what it takes to be an event host. Somebody hired me to do a hosting event at this music showcase, and I fucking killed it. I had no idea that I could do something like that. So it's just really really great to see how you can surprise yourself if you could just put yourself in those moments and in those situations.
Yeah, like think about it. If you so used to being on camera, acting, and remembering your lines, and obviously performing in front of people, like you said, you're an artist. Is all the same thing. I could even see you hosting a wedding or a baby shower. Like you don't even have to know the person. Like in most cases, think about it like this, right? And this is probably like the awkwardest comparison, right?
Okay.
Someone dies. There's a funeral, right?
Yeah.
Does the pastor always personally know the body in the casket?
No.
May be familiar with the family.
Sure.
So the things that they speak on in the church is based off of information that was given to them. Same analogy. You do a baby shower. What's the father name, the mother name, the baby name, the family last name, something about the couple. It's like notes. You just study it. You go there, you host the event, it's the same exact thing, and you get paid for it because now, and it's easy. It's MCing. You tell me, okay, we're gonna need table this and table that to go get the food. You're capable of it, and it's a check. So again, don't
that doesn't hurt.
don't never put yourself, man, in a box, man. It's little stuff like that I don't care if it pay your car note. Just from a hosting of an event, you just never know, man.
Right. And obviously this is not just about me. I mean, I want everybody that's watching and listening to realize if they're in that kind of realm or that rut that, if I could do it, anybody else can. Because
sure.
I said it all the time on the show that I am not a person that takes himself all that too seriously, but I've been able to make lemonade out of lemons, so to speak. And if I could do it, anybody else can, as far as I'm concerned.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So obviously, still doing the filmmaking, still doing the music, still doing the photography. Is there anything, since you being an artist in the general sense, that you feel like you haven't tapped into yet that maybe you want to try your hand at eventually in the future?
Well, what's happening right now, and this is the first platform I'm talking about this on. I didn't tell nobody
Breaking
yet.
news, ladies and gentlemen. Breaking news.
Breaking news, man. This is something exclusive.
Mhm.
Me and Jugs 201 that made the All Night Long. He made the Like a Bass Drum with me and DJ Walla. He produced Money. He produced some joints for me. We got an EP, like probably an album,
Okay.
depending on what I pick. But we got an album on the way.
Nice.
This summer. Live breaking news telling everybody here, me and Jugs is we coming, man. We got something.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
And I feel like I want to take this opportunity to apologize to Jugs because I never met the guy. I barely had a conversation with him, but he's been following me for quite some time, and I think he has shown love and appreciation for what I do. And I don't want to say I was like standoffish. I was like appreciative, but at the same time, I'm thinking like, all right, I don't know, dude, but I appreciate it nonetheless. I feel like I could have done a little bit better to show a little bit more enthusiasm, and then seeing him do what he does, and then working with All Night Long, which is a fucking banger. Not just a song totally, but the beat he did phenomenal on that beat. I loved everything, and I checked out everything. So if he's watching this, I want to take the time to say that I apologize, and I feel like I should have been more enthusiastic because you were doing your motherfucking thing, bro. You were doing your motherfucking thing.
Jugs is special, man. People don't know is me and him from the same projects. We grew up together. A little difference in age, but man, he was always like a bigger brother, family for sure. You know what I mean? Always kept me out the way. Made sure that I was on my bike. He called me to this day. Be cutting me up like, come on, P, man, like what you doing? Like sometimes I get caught up with my business, right? Like my business is flowing, so I'm putting energy into that because obviously it may move at a certain pace. And he like, man, I know you getting money and all, you doing this and that, but yo, let's get this album out. This album been done, and he's just like, yo. But me, I'm so particular that I go back. I be like, I want to record that verse over, or like, yo, let's take them snares out right there. He be on me though, but he definitely, man, it's well needed though, man. You always need somebody that's gonna push you in and want the best for you,
Yeah. Now, this is a two-part question. So the last time when you were on here, we talked about a story that you've talked about on many other platforms about when you had a really bad health scare, when you had a collapsed lung.
Right.
And so that was a very vivid story, and everybody that wants to know the story, go check it out on the previous episode. So the two-part question that I have is, since that moment has happened, have you been a lot more conscious about your health overall and also mentally? And two, is that still a motivating factor to show that you want to do everything that you can because you never know when it's your time to go?
Yeah, always doing what I say I'm gonna do, setting goals, straying away from procrastinating. Am I conscious of my health? I'm not as paranoid as I once was. 'Cause there was a time that, man, when I go to sleep, if I had drunk a Red Bull earlier that day, let's just say my heart pounding differently, I hop up and I'd be like, yo, I might gotta go to the hospital. Like, I definitely was way more conscious of like my respiratory situation, but I outgrew the fear though, because this happened to me in 2017, and with it being such a long time ago, it's like if something would have happened, I mean, doctors say statistically, it would have happened again within a certain time frame if it was that bad. So, I'm just blessed. I'm always working out, and I do try to watch what I'm eating just because I'm on the road a lot and I'm moving, so definitely conscious of that. But the fear aspect is definitely like faded.
Okay, and I guess it really depends on who you are and sometimes it doesn't even have to happen to you. And again, another story that I've told on the show before, but I'll just share it with you is, one of my biggest fears is ending up alone like how my father did. So my father, he passed away from a heart attack at the age of 66. And the crazy thing is that he didn't look like he was in any ailing health at all. He looked like he was in good shape. He was like, he was all good. He felt good. And he was one of those old school dudes, like, I don't need to see a doctor. If I look good, I feel good, I must be good. But you never know what's going on internally. And then he passes away. I'm the one that found his body 2 days afterwards and stuff like that. And it was things like that that made me realize that some of my biggest fears, even still to this day, is not wanting to end up where how he ended up, how he passed, but also like not being arrogant and ignorant to what is what could be affecting me, not just physically but also mentally and emotionally and everything like that, because he was unfortunately a very stressed individual. Let's just call it what it is. He was a very stressed individual, and you never know the power of stress until it's too late. So that was a wake up call for me, but it's also still a fear that I don't think is going to go away anytime soon, because there's certain things in my personal life where I feel like I'm following in his footsteps. Like sometimes maybe the same mannerisms, or sometimes, even the smallest minute things. I mean, I look like the guy. I'm a spitting image of him. People say all the time, "Oh, Jason, you look like Fernando. God bless you." So it's little things that, like, I don't think about it on a daily basis, not constant, but I do have those moments where it may pop up every now and then, and I'm thinking, I gotta shed this fear off, because I don't want my life thinking, I don't want me thinking that I'm gonna die at 66 just like he did as well. So and I guess it really depends on who you are, and it's always an ongoing battle. But it's one of those fears that is probably not gonna go away anytime soon. But I feel like I've learned to handle it better.
Mm, that's deep, man. I'm like somewhat speechless about that, because that's deep. And the reality is first I want to say I'm even sorry that you even had to experience that, because I can only imagine the thought process of someone who in your life, right, raised you, and you know, obviously that, like, the way that life works, right? Like, the younger you are, obviously your lifespan should be longer than the older person, right? But it don't matter how it goes, it's still the thought of, it's traumatizing. Like,
Sure.
you can never forget the day, the feeling, the weather. It's the little specks and details of something that really bothers you, and that you don't find closure to.
It's very vivid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's almost like it's easy to relive it, just going into the thought, like I dealt with that with my stepdad. I just, like, the other day I was like, I don't know, like 2 3 days ago, was looking at something in my phone, and came across my stepdad who had cancer, and I was the last person to see him in the hospital, like hours before he passed away. Had no idea. Like, we knew that his health was,
In
declining,
decline, yeah.
but it's tough, because I had a picture and I had a visual. So to see that, and to not see him in the best form of how I really knew him, weight wise, everything. Yeah, that messed your head up, man. Like, I just shed tears the other day. So, I go through that too. Like, and I only could imagine, like, imagine if you walked into your dad's home, whoever he was, and you had your camera on and you ready to surprise him with something,
Mm.
and let's say that video was still in your phone. Like, man, you would relive that. It don't matter how long ago it was. It would mess with your head.
Dude, his phone number is still in my contact list. I still find it hard to even get rid of it.
Wow. It's crazy. Funny you say that. Like, I know right now, Fred the Godson, my stepdad, it's a couple people that are deceased that I have not deleted their number, man.
Mm-hmm.
And for one, it's because it's easier to find our last text messages, where sometime I might want to glance through it. But it's also the idea of, you're not letting go. You know what I mean? It's hard to deal with the reality of, like, that phone call won't get picked up again, and I know what that feel like. So,
Yeah.
man, I have a lot of, and I know that might be the weirdest thing to say, but I really still have some deceased people numbers in my phone. I can't even process that, life happened.
Yeah. I mean, I used to work with a guy that his sister had passed away 6 months prior, and it still hasn't sunk into him. Like, he still is in disbelief that it even happened. So it all really depends on who you are and how you deal with it and what you do to therapize yourself. and you being an artist, going back to your artistry, I would say that maybe that could be a deciding factor in what keeps you consistent in doing what you do, because you go through so many experiences in your everyday life that you apply it into your music and into your filmmaking and so on and so forth.
Yeah, definitely, man. Like, yo, people don't realize like whether you're an entertainer, whether you're a athlete, lawyer, whatever, like, yo, we all human. We all
Hmm.
got feelings. You know what I mean? Ain't nobody too tough to shed a tear. Ain't nobody too tough to die. Like, we know what the reality is when we step outside the house. You know, you ain't even
Hmm.
got to step outside the house. You
Yeah.
see on the news cops running up in people's spots
Hmm.
now, and you could be in your own home, in your own comfort, pajamas and all that, and
Look what happened to Brianna
it
Taylor.
could be yo. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so it's so many stories out there that's told. We don't even know about the ones that don't make worldwide news, and there's so much stuff that go under the rug. So
Mm.
it's like, yeah, man, like we really go through a lot of emotions, and to tap into that field, talking about my stepdad, like I wanted to write a record, like a tribute,
Hmm.
and he's been gone for 2 years now, and I can't even find the proper words to describe how I feel. And for my brother and sister, who that's their dad, and my siblings are 10 and 13. They're younger than me, way
Sure.
younger. Like my mom's had me young, so um, for them not to grow up with a dad and me to be their big brother, it's like, man, it like mentally it's hard to know like I have to step up to a role, like unwillingly, like this is just what it is, you know what I mean? So but yeah, like when you see certain things and you go through certain things, people forget like, yo, you human too. And like, man, I'm messed up, like I can't even
Mm.
write a song still.
Mm.
2 years later, I can't even do it. I can't even put my pen in my mind to the idea of I'm about to say the things that are real, and is real, and to have a visual of it, like your last couple pictures, and you see that, damn, like, man, this disease that there's no cure for, you know pharmaceutically, if that's a word, right?
Yeah, it is.
There's something that can help, but like we live in a world where it's like if it was enough space for all of us to be alive and be here,
Hmm.
it would, but that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
Like what's going on.
Do you feel like when eventually you were able to put pen to paper and finally make that song that you feel like you can't make, do you feel like that'll be the ultimate closure that you'll get for yourself?
I feel like, yeah, but I'm also gonna say that I don't deal with I don't deal
Grief.
with grief and losses well.
Mm.
Like I'm a person that I have that disbelief issue. I have that um, closure sometimes not enough. Like you can have a dream and dream of that person and they could look like they happy and all that. Um, it's still tough though, man. It's tough. The idea of you're not in that next room, or you're not
Hmm.
gonna pick up the phone, or your birthday coming up. Like I can't say happy birthday. Like it's the littlest things that, man, pain is pain. I do have a problem with putting a pen to the paper and illustrating my thoughts. I don't know. Like I don't know if I'm gonna get that closure yet. I think the only thing that can guarantee that answer is time.
Yeah. Yeah, as cliche as it sounds, time heals all wounds. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, let's go into something a little bit less morbid now. And
yeah.
so, I also wanted to get into this topic real quick with you because you are in the industry. So, um, you are mostly in the music industry. I'm mostly in the podcast industry. But in the last couple of years that I've been in, I noticed that really the difference between the two is kind of stark. And what I mean by that is actually really small. And what I mean by that is you're going to deal with people that are all about competition instead of collaboration. You got people that are trying to get over on you. You got people that'll, they'll love, you'll love them, but they'll love what you can do for them, what you
For
can do
sure.
for them. And it's like it's actually kind of baffling to me because like it's really I never thought the podcast game and the rap game could actually be one and the same, just a different medium.
Right. Yeah.
So like some of the things that I had to deal with personally is I've had to deal with naysayers, I've had to deal with doubters, I had to deal with hate, I had to deal with liars and rumors, and I don't even try to pay attention to it, especially if it's not true. But the thing that baffles me is like, where does this shit come from? Like, I don't think, and if there's anything that I did or said, I don't know about it because it was never confronted to me. But I at the same time, I can't do anything about it because I can't worry too much about, what others may have to say or do as far as like throwing dirt in my name when I'm not the type of person to do something like that. So that is something that has been going on for decades in the game.
Right.
And if there's one word that I could describe you besides, hardworking, is also unflappable. Like, I feel like there could be a lot of things that could be thrown your way that this game will throw at you, but you're like, fuck it, I'm still doing my thing. I don't care. Like, I'm unflappable. It's not going to stop me from doing what I need to do.
Yeah, I understand that. For one, what I heard in that statement that you just made is just greatness. When you great, they gonna hate. There's no way around it, man. People, for people to watch you plant like a seed, right? And they see you grow, and they see you grow, and they know there's nothing they can do about it, and they see you blossom, and you be the most precious flower in the garden. It bothers people. Your growth is always going to be a reflection of someone's insecurity, because in our reality, they like, how did he do it? It's always a how. It's never a congratulations. People come from bitter backgrounds, so it's easier to just question or to downplay or to act like you don't see something, right? Like you don't want to acknowledge something, so you don't hit the like button, you don't comment, or you don't subscribe. It's easy to do that.
Yeah.
And for some reason, it's harder to just take the time and be like, hey, man, your podcast is doing good. That's what's up and all that. It's easier to just say something negative. And it's crazy to me because I was just on the internet the other day, yesterday. I see Chris Brown just came home from jail, right? Let's just talk about something relevant.
Yeah, sure.
I'm seeing people repost this guy as if they know Chris, like on a personal level, where it's like, yo, man, Chris coming home. I can't wait to the show, blah, blah, blah. It's cool to be a fan. I'm happy Chris is home as well. I don't want to see nobody in jail. True. But I think the reality is like, somebody that got a podcast and that's focused. Somebody that got a play, right, in June 28th. Are you buying tickets to that? Mm-hmm. I don't know what it is about people. Like, I was actually gonna ask you. I didn't want to cut you off, but I was like, I'm actually interested in getting a ticket. I'll go right there and look wherever you gonna be at. I want to pull up because it don't cost nothing to support somebody. Right. You call me up here to talk to me and put me on your platform. I'm grateful. Mm-hmm. Like, you could talk to anybody you want to, but this is a production. You know what I mean? Shout out to the engineer. It's people behind the scenes that make all this come together. So, I don't know. We live in a world where people ain't. It's haters, man.
Well, it's you actually made a great point because I guess another word that I could describe when it comes to the subject of you is greatness, because like you said, I'm spending my own time, money, and effort to do this show, and I choose you of most people to be on this day particular, and for the second time, because I definitely see a sense of greatness in you, and it has been proven. The evidence is out there on social media, in your music, and so on and so forth. There's greatness in you, and I know for sure that I'm not the only one that recognizes that shit. You got it from your girl to your family to your peers, everybody you're just surrounding yourself around. And I think it's a beautiful thing to see. And that's why I feel confident that this is something that's going to have a lot of longevity for you, because you're still the same person that you were in 2023 to 2025 and going forward.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you got to be solid, man. Like, you get caught up in these likes, you get caught up in, these industry parties and all that, man. It's so easy to lose yourself. But I think that determines, like I said, your morals and everything. Like, I think all of that matters. And you can see it when a person achieves things. And me, I understand as fast as you get it, as fast as it can go. So I don't really get caught up in celebrating too much. My homegirl, Dolly, that live out in Atlanta, she always get mad at me. She called me by my first name, too. She like, Dad, why you don't... why you need to be happy or blah, blah. And I'm like, it's cool.
Wins, yeah.
Like, I do something, somebody repost my work or whatever. Like, I did something with the Giants, right? Because I do stuff with the
I remember you were the season, the whole season.
Yep. And then while I
probably the worst season to join, but that's
hey, look, man. Look,
Hey,
I wasn't on the field,
it's good.
but
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got you.
um, but yeah, like doing work for them and stuff like that, and getting reposted from ESPN or whatever like that.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "Yo, you doing so well. Like I don't see you like you don't stop and just acknowledge." And I'm like, I don't know. I just feel like if I know other people want to be in my position, I can't get too happy because I know that when you get happy, you become lackadaisical, and it's
Mm.
easy to fall back, and then next thing you know, somebody else then spring past you. So my thing is like try not to get too comfortable.
Yeah, that's actually where I'm at right now, as far as like going back to the word we were talking about balance, because there was a moment in the earlier the part of the show where I feel like maybe, admittedly, and I never said this to anybody, I'm admitting it now, where I feel like maybe I was feeling myself a little bit too much because I was able to do something that people are enjoying and something that I enjoy doing and being more consistent than anybody else that I know in my realm. And maybe
Mm.
my head got a little bit too big to the point, and then afterwards I went the opposite route where I feel like I wasn't doing enough. So I would say honestly that part of the reason why I was doing a lot of this stuff and being consistent was because I felt like I had a point to prove. I felt like I needed to get that addiction of validation of showing that I do belong and I do need to do this, and the only way to do it is just to keep on grinding, even if it means I'm spreading myself thin. And
Mm.
after I took a step back, hindsight is always 2020. I realized that, hold on, like, you're going hard and everything, and that's good, but don't do it with the wrong kind of energy. Do it for something that's going to be more prevalent for you, as opposed to just something that's going to attack you in the long run. Like, don't be the own cause of your own demise,
I
so to
get that,
speak.
but what I would say is, in just my opinion,
Mm,
because I feel like the only people that feel threatened by your confidence is people that are not capable of.
mm,
So if a person is not capable of doing what you do, or if they're not great in their field or avenue or whatever they got going on, it's easy for people to feel like, oh, Jason think he just man, like come on, man, like we heard you say that before. I don't know. I just feel like that's like I feel like when you dumb it down and you're more conscious of how other people feel, it's different, right? If you just being flat out arrogant, like nobody could do it. Listen, we all supposed to feel like that. Like no one's supposed to say, I'm the weakest one in the room. We're not supposed to
mm.
say that. You're
No.
supposed to feel like, yeah, I'm the best at what I do. I'm the most consistent. And, that's what makes like Mike Tyson great or Muhammad Ali. Like, these are people that they spoke that and they got in the ring and they showed it.
There you
You
go.
show it. Yeah, your credibility, your efforts, your timeline, everything is documented. Like it's nothing to question of who Jason is. So, sometimes we be hard on ourselves because, you know, sometimes you don't want to rub people the wrong way and turn people off and push them away. But in all reality, man, if you great, there's nothing you could do about it. Like you was born that way. Like some skills um, and gifts you're born with, and
Mm,
some you develop over time. And you know, in your case, whether you was born with it or you develop over time, you really good at it. So I
yeah.
wouldn't try to dumb it down for nobody.
Yeah, and I actually posted something on Threads earlier today, and I think
Right.
that shout out, and you could follow me at I am Jason Enrique on all social media platforms. I just wanted to share this thought, and it was shared with a lot of people, and I just want to like share a little bit of wisdom to the camera and everybody else that's listening, if you're listening and not watching. I put out. I used to be worried about people liking me, so I would pretend to be somebody that I wasn't. Then I finally got comfortable with being myself, only for my circle to get smaller and smaller in the process. But that was a blessing in itself because it surrounded me with people who were meant to be in my life after all. So the moral of the story, be your fucking self.
Pretty much. I like that, man.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you gotta be yourself, man. You gotta be okay with being. My boy Dre always say he the black sheep of the family. He always say
Mm,
that. It's okay, man, to stand out, and as long as it's not for the wrong reasons, where it's like, man, you incriminating yourself or doing something
mm.
crazy. Like, man, you are who you are, man. You one of one.
Yeah, and again a good analogy about the black sheep, because I've talked about this on my show before, where I didn't realize this until much later on, but I was thinking to myself, uh, I'm the black sheep of my family in a number of reasons, but in this particular case, I'm the black sheep in the sense that there is no creative people in my family whatsoever. Nobody is into the arts. Nobody does. They all have 9 to 5s and work regular careers and have families and so on and so forth. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine, you know. But I just felt like there was always something that I wanted more for myself, and me not getting the love and support or appreciation was only just the fact that they weren't familiar with it. You know, I feel like if I was in a different environment, it would have been otherwise. But in some way, shape, or form, I learned how to appreciate it because that's probably where the fire and the motivation came from within. It's just funny how sometimes you have to look at everything in hindsight to really get a grasp on things, and when you do, then you can move on to the next thing and continue the greatness, so to speak.
Yeah, I agree. That makes sense.
Yeah. All right. So we're almost coming at the end of this episode. So any other things that you already promoted the album that you're coming out with in summer and everything, but is there anything else in the works in the life of Pressure Online that people should be aware about coming soon?
Yeah, so as of right now, project on the way in the summertime. I'm not gonna put the title out. I'm not gonna put the date out yet.
Okay.
I just tell people they follow me on my Instagram, Pressure Online, YouTube, Pressure Online. Stay updated. Something on the work. Something in the works right now. Outside of that, man, I'm doing a lot of filming. Some projects I can't speak on yet, but Summer Jam. I'm gonna just say that. Anything can happen.
Yeah.
Anything can happen. I definitely don't want to spoil it, but anything can happen.
Fair enough.
It's gonna be fun, man. This could be a good year if you know, just stay consistent. Got to stay on it. Stay prayed up for sure.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Pressure Online. Thank you so much for coming through, my man. Okay. But before we go, I just have one more segment. Now it's time for everybody's favorite segment. It is now time for this or that. If you've never seen the show before, what happens is I will ask my guests here multiple choice questions. There's no right or wrong answers, just what you like best. And then it's just an opportunity for the audience to get to know you more. And I've been looking forward to doing this with you because we didn't get I didn't have this segment back then when you came on. So now it's good that we get to have this segment on you.
For this, something about to happen. Let's get it.
So like I said, no right or wrong answers, just what you like best. And then it's just an opportunity for the audience to get to know you better.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Are you ready, Najee? All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go for this or that. You, Mr. Pressure Online. Playlist or podcast?
Damn. Podcast.
Okay. Slides or Crocs?
Slides.
Najee knows I love seeing that reaction for everybody. Everybody always has a different reaction. Beach or pool?
Pool.
Okay. Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Are you an early bird or a night owl?
Early bird.
Instagram or TikTok?
Instagram.
To give or to receive?
To give.
Are you an introvert or an extrovert?
Extrovert.
Batman or Superman?
Batman.
Iron Man or Captain America?
Iron Man.
Are you glass half empty or glass half full?
Overfull.
Overfull. Would you rather be embarrassed or be afraid?
Be embarrassed.
Would you rather be too hot or be too cold?
I rather be too hot.
All right. Do you prefer doing dishes or laundry?
Laundry.
Do you prefer the window seat or the aisle seat?
Window seat. Oh my gosh.
Are you book smart or street smart?
I can't say both.
Sure.
Both.
All right, both. Do you prefer reading or writing?
Writing.
Would you rather speak every language or play every instrument?
Speak every language.
Cardio or weights?
Weights.
Dancing or karaoke?
Ooh, wow. When I'm up in the crib, man, I be having fun, man, especially when I'm with my peoples. Dancing or karaoke, wow. Wow, both.
All right. Drama or comedy?
Comedy.
All right. James Cameron or Steven Spielberg?
Steven.
Quentin Tarantino or Martin Scorsese? Try so hard not to laugh.
Man, I ain't gonna lie, I don't know neither one of them. Yo, hold on, hold on 1 second. Yo, I'm over here thinking, like, I'm trying to think of the face. Yo, man, I'm bad with TV, man.
How about this? No, it's movies, but one did Pulp Fiction, the other one did Goodfellas.
Goodfellas, whoever's in Goodfellas.
Martin Scorsese.
And I probably, you know what's crazy? I can't never put people's name with their faces. I'm bad with that,
It's
man.
okay, no problem. Do you prefer ice water or room temperature?
Man, depends on what I'm doing. Ice cold water.
All right. And then finally, teamwork or solo project?
See, Jay, I want to say teamwork, but motherfuckers don't listen, man. Damn, like, I got to keep it real with you, man. I hate dealing with people sometimes.
Oh, man.
But, teamwork, man.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, teamwork makes the dream work. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it for this or that. That is going to do it for this episode of First Class, Second Place. Thank you to my great guest, PressureOnline, for coming through. One more time, anybody want to give a shout out to before we close out?
Man, shout out to all of the good people out there, man. Stay prayed up, though, man. PressureOnline, make sure y'all follow me on Spotify, Instagram, TikTok, all that, man. Check in with me. Album on the way this summer. Yeah.
Brother, thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate you. Appreciate your time, man. And ladies and gentlemen, you can find me at I am Jason Enrique on all social media platforms. Don't forget to like, subscribe on YouTube at Jason Enrique. Thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you next week. This has been the First Class, Second Place podcast. We out.